Hello, I'm Donald Leggett and welcome to this edition of Share Views, brought to you by London South East. We're joined today by Colin Hutchinson, CEO of Ascent Resources, the AIM-listed operator of the Pecelski gas field in Slovenia. Welcome, Colin.
Thanks, Donald.
So, clearly you're a busy man.
Yes, it's been a busy start to the year. There's been a lot going on.
Yes, and a lot has happened since we spoke last. Let me just jump straight in and ask you, what difference has the permit for the gas producing plant made for the business?
I think the permit is hugely important. We've been seeking the permit for a long time. It proves that we can get a permit through the system. And it's very important for the future, the field development, as we hope to increase production and put Slovenian gas into the Slovenian grid.
Why the change? Why did you eventually get the permit? It did look at one stage as if your arsehole had kicked you into the long grass and were permanently going to leave you there.
Well, I think we've answered every question that we were asked.
But what has changed? Because your position hasn't changed.
No, I think eventually ARSO have gone through all the documentation that we've provided and realised and come to the conclusion that the permit should be awarded, and we were happy to have that permit awarded. We're now focus shifts to the well permit, where ARSO previously said that a full environmental impact assessment was required. Our position is that it's not required. We've already provided all the information, and based on the expert opinions that they saw, the six bodies that said there was no significant risk, that a permit should have been awarded. So now we're looking, and hopefully the Environment Ministry, the new Environment Minister and the Environment Ministry takes a view on our appeal, and when we have news on that.
Do you remain hopeful?
I'm always hopeful. I think getting the IPPC permit has given us renewed confidence that the system works, and once we get a fair hearing and the facts are understood by all parties and people understand that there's been oil and gas production using this stimulation that we're seeking to do again in Pecelski. The first one was done in 1956. It's been done on over 50 wells since then. So we're not looking to do anything new. And I think once people understand exactly what we're seeking to do and understand that there is no risk to the environment and there is huge potential benefits from the project, then the permits hopefully get awarded.
So when we were talking earlier, I mentioned the word fracking and your face turned blue. So you clearly see a big difference between fracking and stimulation, which is what you guys are going to do in Pecelski.
Yeah,
what's the difference?
I think this is a big misunderstanding, and this is something we've been struggling with, that people associate us with what goes on in North America, these big projects. What we're seeking to do in Pecelski is something that's been done since 1956 and is done throughout the region. It's well understood. There's been no reports of any negative consequences of what's been done in the past, and all the experts that have been consulted have concluded that there is no significant risk going forward. So that's not what this project is about. This is low volume hydraulic stimulation. It's well understood, and we're just a continuation of what's been going on historically.
Current practice.
Exactly, yeah.
Legal appeal on the stimulation permit. Are you still considering one? Well,
we still are looking at all our legal options. We've got the first permit awarded. The second permit now is still within the process. It's our position that there have been a number of breaches in the past. We've had lawyers in London and Ljubljana looking at it, and it's something that we'll continue to keep going in the background if we need to use it. But I really hope that we get a fair hearing and an objective view on the permits.
Okay, let's draw a line under the permits and start talking about what you're going to do to the Pecelski field going forward. So you and John Bugenhagen have been cooking up plans. So what are those plans?
Yeah, it's been great to have John on board since January. What we're looking to do is to maximise what we've got already in Slovenia and also look to grow in the region. So in Slovenia, what that means is we're going to put compression equipment in, which will increase production and extend the life of the well. We've also been reprocessing the 3D seismic, so we've got an extensive 3D survey, and we're reprocessing it with two main objectives.
You've done a new 3D?
No, this is the existing 3D, okay, but it's been reprocessed at the minute. And it's
reanalysis of the 3D?
Reanalyzed. I mean, the analysis in the past was really focused on the deep gas, where we drilled PG10 and 11 successfully and found significant volumes of gas. What we're reprocessing it is to look at is the shallower horizons where there's been a lot of oil and gas produced in the past, to see if there's any potential spots there we could re-enter an old well or drill a new well, and that would be more conventional and easier to permit.
The other 9 wells that you were talking about previously was 9 wells, was it?
That's a different matter. That's on the deep gas. So they're still the wells that we'd look to go back into, and we know all about that. We've got the survey analysed there. The other thing that we're analysing the seismic for is to look at the deeper stuff, right down below the 3,500 metres where we've looked in the past, and to see whether there's any potential for further resources below what's previously been discovered.
So pretty comprehensive stuff then?
Yeah, we're looking forward to getting the results from that.
Okay. Compression equipment you mentioned.
Yeah.
Just give us the nuts and bolts detail. Where exactly is the compression equipment going to go? How much is it going to cost? Over what time frame will it be installed in? All the kind of questions the investors want to know about. Yeah,
so we've been talking to a number of suppliers over the last few months to shortlist them and identify the preferred supplier. This equipment will be installed at the existing MRS, where we have the filter separator and the connection to the Croatian pipeline. And it'll be used on both wells, PG10 and PG11A, to increase production, to effectively suck the gas out. The pressure has obviously declined a bit as we've been producing, and the compression equipment will enable the life of those wells to be extended, production to be increased and kept going at a stable plateau. And the equipment will be installed. We're hoping to sign the contract in the next few weeks and then have the equipment installed hopefully before the end of the year.
Even very roughly, what would an estimated cost of the compression equipment be?
Ballpark, it's going to cost about €500,000, plus there'll be some additional installation costs. Some of those costs we'll need to pay up front, and some will be paid after it's been installed.
Okay, so it's a useful piece of equipment, but it doesn't come cheap. £750,000 you've just raised in your latest share placing. What does that get used for, and over what time frame?
So both the things we've just been talking about are really the main focus of what we're using that money for. So getting the compression equipment ordered and paid for, and getting the 3D seismic reprocessing completed. So those two things will be the short-term uses of that cash, and that'll hopefully deliver cash flow in terms of increased production from the existing wells and increased prospects from the 3D seismic reprocessing.
And essentially, we've been talking field development plan stuff here. How much more funding will you need to do a decent job, do you think, and where is that money going to come from?
Well, I'm hoping that once the permits come through, then we'd obviously need more funding to re-stimulate the wells, and then as more permits come through, we'd need more money to bring the field up to its full potential. I was very pleased that we raised the 750,000 there recently, and even more pleased that we brought in some institutions on that placing. So I think
the institutions wouldn't have been there before the permit came through.
No, I think, and the permit was a big factor in why people now can see that we're moving things forward and there is a good future for the project.
Okay, which neatly takes me to the strategic review that you commissioned. You were talking to some interested institutions, some interested partners, perhaps some farming partners. Have those farming partners come back to you? Have they shown any renewed interest now that you've got the permit in place?
We obviously ran this process last year for a large part of the year, and we had over 20 companies approached us and signed confidentiality agreements. They did a lot of due diligence. The biggest roadblock at the time was the lack of permits. We've got the first permit through and we're working on the second permit, but we're not really focused on going back to people we spoke to last year. We're really focused on going forward ourselves. We now have the wherewithal to take the project forward independently and also to look at other projects in the region. Okay,
so that's a long way of saying those folks haven't come back to you, and nor have you approached them?
No.
And would you have any intention of approaching them?
No, we're focused on taking the project forward ourselves, and trying to grow the company independently. Okay.
The ENA gas sales agreement has been extended to November. You're deliberately kicking the can down the road there. What are you hoping to happen in the interim before November? How are you going to strengthen your bargaining hand? That's how I see what you're doing. You're trying to get yourself in a stronger position. How?
Yes, well, the reason for the two reasons for the 6-month extension. The first one is the agreement was initially signed for a year, and then we extended it for 6 months last year. So the other 6-month extension brings us to a 2-year agreement, and I think a year was a sensible sort of extension before you sign a new gas sales agreement. And we hope that, we've already spoken to Ina about this, that by November we should have a much clearer idea of what future production volumes look like. We'll have the compression equipment installed, so we'll know what the impact of that's going to be, and hopefully we also have a permit to re-stimulate the wells. So we'll be able to re-sign a gas sales agreement with stronger production volumes and with greater predictability, which will obviously help everyone.
Makes a lot of sense. Okay. As you know, the AST share is closely followed in the London South East Bulletin Board. The big question for those investors is why do you not have your own money directly invested in the company in the way that the investors have their money directly invested in the company? And this is a fascination for them. It's a big question for them.
Yes, I understand that question, and I have invested my own money on a series of occasions in the past.
Are you still a holder?
I am. I am still a holder, yes.
So you're still a wee bit underwater, the same way that they are a little bit underwater.
I've put money in, and a lot of my remuneration, a proportion of my remuneration has been in share options, and the option price is between 1.5 and 2 pence. So my interests are very well aligned with the interests of shareholders. I really want to see the share price increase back up to where it was about 18 months ago.
Because, as a reader of the bulletin boards, a lot of people said that they think your interests are not aligned, but you would say they're absolutely bang on aligned.
They're very much aligned. I mean, I've been working trying to get the project moving forward for quite some time now. The share options are at a sort of 1.5, 2p, so I really want to see the share price increase.
Great. Finally, my last question, in terms of news flow, what can investors look forward to over the next 6 months, the next 12 months? It's going to be a very busy time, so what's going to be coming through? What's going to be kicking that share price up a little bit?
Well, I think we've had a very busy start to 2019. We've had the board changes, we've raised money, we've got the first permit, the IPPC permit, and we've extended the gas sales agreement with Ina. So we've accomplished a lot in the first 4 months of the year. Going forward, I think in Slovenia we'll have the compression equipment installed. We hopefully will have news on the permit, and we'll have the reprocessing of the 3D seismic. And then outside of Slovenia, we're also looking at potentially a bid in Croatia in the onshore licensing round, which is underway, and we're looking at other projects in the region. So we're hoping that it's going to be a very busy year.
Colin Hutchinson, CEO of Ascent Resources, thanks for joining us. That was a fascinating interview. Thank you so much. And if you'd like to see more interviews like that one, please just click on the London South East logo, and I'd just like to thank you for watching. Thank you very much.